typical tour guide. You're going to see that too. So some of this is somewhat scripted, but most of it's going to feel like a conversation. All right, so let's start off with thermal imaging. You guys can all see me in that camera, correct? I'm red, orange, and yellow. Everything else around me should be blue and black. So with that being said, we're looking for those blue and black spots to start moving on their own. So if something comes across my face and it's blue or black, it's obviously probably a good 20 to 25 degrees colder or more than my skin temperature. So that's exactly what we're looking for. Is this going to capture something every single night? Not necessarily, but we do need to have it recording all night long. So, Reg, this is going to go to you. So you're going to hold this horizontal all night, just like that. The red square on there means that it's recording. So if it turns to a circle, let me know. We'll have to tap it again, and that way I have to splice some video together for you guys.
Not a problem.
Fair enough? By the way, this is just a very quick intro to your devices. Your first location is haunted, but it is... area for everybody to kind of see what the devices do. We're going to use 3 different types of spirit boxes tonight. Anybody not know what a spirit box is? Okay. I don't know. Well, that's good because you're going to have a separate one. Spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. It's basically a radio suite. Okay, so on your TV shows, it's that very annoying white staticky noise, and then Zach Bagans tells you what he thinks he heard, and he puts it in writing on the screen. We're going to do that in real time. The cool thing about this is that it's going to record the entire thing for us. Now, with that being said, it's not going to record any outside noise, which means it's not going to record us, and it's not going to record, it's even going to record when it's on mute. So even when the volume is turned down, it's still going to be recording for us at a nice even level. So when you guys get your recording back tomorrow, it'll be a nice even level. So I will give you some audio markers of things that I find in it, but it'll be up to you guys to actually do the rest. You just look bored out of your mind. She's like, man, I really don't want to be here.
Who, that one?
Yep.
Yeah. Get up, sit up, and stop acting like that. Come on. That's mine.
Alright. So, because these guys haven't really chatted that much to me yet, I'm actually going to give this one to you.
To me?
Yeah. So you have one button to worry about. And again, I'm going to turn it up just for a second so you guys get the gist of what it sounds like. I want the radio chatter to come through. This one is slowed down. It's not just white noise. So song lyrics, DJs, commercials, whatever you hear.
White hot?
Let us know.
You're locked.
I hear rock music.
If this not works, more rock music.
So, you said that's a ghost hunter, but the ghosts go over F and AM.
They will use any type of electronic device to try to communicate with us because it's basically made out of the same type of thing.
So if I like to slap my phone, will it talk to me through there?
I actually have a phone that I'm going to be setting up, so I will show you how to use that. I know where that one's going. So, this one's going to go to you. You have one button to worry about. There's a little wheel at the top. You control the volume.
Okay, so do you just want me to randomly change it? Or?
No, I want you, when I will say spirit box is up, that's when you'll go ahead and turn it up. Because obviously there's going to be stories and clues for you guys to be listening in.
Alright.
Okay, fair enough?
Sounds good.
Alright, so, let's go with, let's stick with the spirit box mentality here. So, Marty, you're going to have one as well. And the reason why I'm giving you this specific one is because it does not record, but Reg's video camera does record audio. So I figured the two of you are going to be sticking together, so that way, in the event you do hear something, we'll capture the audio from his recording. Does that make sense? Sorry, it's all black.
Kind of light.
Yeah, okay. I got it.
I can be your
Ghost hunter assistant?
Yeah.
Ghost hunter assistant. That's what my daughter's doing. She's not here. Perfect. I'm good. So, yours, same thing. DJs, song lyrics, commercials, whatever you hear. Your volume button is on the side of the speaker. It's right here. You will hold it up to turn the volume up, and then hold it down to turn the volume down. Okay. That one's yours. All right.
No, I was just turning it up, seeing what would happen.
She's a ghost.
Sure? Here, let's keep it.
I do this twice a night.
Alright.
Because I'm going to need your hands free.
Okay.
You're going to be double-fisted. Sure. All right. So, this is the neuralizer for Men in Black. So for the kids that have never seen that, this is going to erase your memory, so you're not going to remember anything. You need you all to sit right there.
Okay.
She's like, I'm serious, I'll look at it. It's a grid pen.
Whoa.
So what does this guy do?
like
This
that.
actually, you can't see the laser from the pen to the ground, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Until something passes through it. So, lasers get Nick in a lot of trouble. They stay down. Always point down.
Okay.
So, this thing will actually, is so strong, it will actually set off a car alarm.
Well, he's the rule follower, so.
I got something else for him. He's
Okay.
fine.
Oh, you have something
I was
special
just like,
for me?
I do.
I'm gonna set off some car alarms.
Don't think I haven't ran with a group of 10 saying, we gotta go, let's go. This one gives us red squares. Works the exact same way, but when we capture something here, because one of you is going to have a camera, in that picture I can then send it into 3D software and we'll have the full 3D view of the apparition that we caught. So how cool is that, right?
I love
So, lasers go in the same pair of hands, so I know where they are.
Actually gets the lasers.
Gets all the lasers.
Now, don't point it in your face. There you
Yeah.
go. That one has a toggle
Don't
switch.
take
This
down
one you
any
have to hold on.
airplanes.
Like you have to keep it on. You don't want to cross the streams. Ghostbuster joke. There you go. Perfect.
She's Christmas style.
Jesus.
All right. So
My arms are too short, so they still cross.
I don't normally give this to teenagers, just so you guys know, because they usually don't know what it is.
Don't worry.
You know, 30. Okay.
Okay.
This is just a plain old digital camera.
Okay.
It doesn't have a flash on it. The setting is turned
teenagers
off.
don't know how to use digital cameras.
They don't know how to use digital cameras.
Hey,
And
hey, hey.
I love
point one of your lasers down for me. So what we're doing with this guy is we're literally just taking pictures through it. I don't need pictures down at it. I want them to go through. So any event something passes by and she misses it, because it's not going to say, hey, I'm right here. It's literally going to be that quick. So we want to take a couple hundred pictures throughout the night just through the lasers.
Through the lasers.
That's all about you.
Got it.
Okay.
I can handle it. It's just gonna be a bunch of pictures of lasers.
Will ghosts like send music? Or like,
So have you seen the movie Transformers? Because you have a lot of questions.
I do have a lot of questions.
It's okay.
I'm hoping for some. Maybe
Have you seen the movie Transformers?
Yeah, not very.
Do you remember Bumblebee? He talked through the radio?
Yeah.
Same principle.
Yeah.
So they take like words from different
They take the
things.
words from whatever we're listening to on the radio and then giving that back to us. You're going to notice on that spirit box that she's used, actually both of those, that it might pause for a split second longer than it does the other stations, because it's like we need extra words from that particular phrase.
And so like those words, they'll take the words from whatever is playing and send a message, like the Ouija words.
Yeah, exactly. So the next one we're going to use, and it's going to go to you, so you might want to pay attention. So this one is going to give us words in the center of the screen. This app is actually meant to be a game or a hoax. It's not meant for true ghost hunting. However, it's about 80% of it that doesn't mean anything. It's the 5 to 20% of the words that'll come up that will mean something. You're going to get the entire list because it saves it for us. So this is the last tour I did. They had about 83 terms come up. And I think out of this one, I found a good 20 to 25%. We're going to clear them out and start you guys off fresh. So you don't have to do anything other than tell us what the screen says.
All right. That's a good job.
It already said, I think.
Map.
Map. Look at that. So you already have one word. Is it part of the 80%? Probably. I can't prove it. Whenever I give you a verifiable,
Are you hearing that?
like a word that actually means something, you'll always have a link of where I got my information from, of why it's relevant to the area where we are. Same thing with the spirit boxes. So when I hear something very specific, it'll be based on the location, something going on with us, one of our names. That's why I ask for all of your names. I don't have them memorized, but in the event it does come up, there it is. Last but not least, EMF meters. You guys have seen these on your TV shows, but they never actually explained them. So what does this guy do? It actually measures 3 different types of electromagnetic fields. First one's natural, comes from the earth. Doesn't do anything, right? That's why it's green. It's just balanced. The next one is going to be from electronic devices. But Nick, you just handed out a bunch of electronic devices. So it would literally have to be touching it or right on top of it, a strong enough signal to be able to make this thing go into a rhythm or a pulse from man-made objects. That does include parking meters, buildings that have high, electrical walls, so forth and so on. We will always try to debunk things that are happening with this guy. So the next thing is that we're looking for erraticism. We want this thing to go a little nuts. When it goes a little nuts, we're still going to try to debunk what's actually happening. So at that point, we have our first piece of evidence that another device is probably recording something else, and that's when I get excited. I don't get excited from one word that comes up on his spirit box. I need this guy to go off too. Does that make sense? I usually need more than 2 devices to make it happen. You're going to be the first person to let us know what's happening.
Okay.
So it
I
doesn't
completely blanked out. What am I doing again?
when
You're
it
just
goes
making
crazy,
sure
let
that
us
it
know.
goes crazy.
Okay.
Just whenever it lights up like a Christmas tree, let us know. Anything off of that green can be exciting, just depending on the location. So, everybody kind of have a gist on what their devices do and what they are?
Ready.
All right, so, of course, you guys helped me empty my bag, so thanks. This place is haunted, of course. That's why we start here. So, this place used to be called Big John. So, Reg, you might actually remember that because you lived here or been here a long time ago.
No, I don't.
Make sure I'm not missing anything. I do have thermometers in the event Reg finds something on there where I can either prove or debunk what's going on. There's various thermometers in here. They're not so exciting. That's why I gave everything else out first. But they're just kind of to help us determine what's actually happening. So, anyway, Big John, he was a football player for the 1947 Giants. He used to sit in the back of the bar and tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, which is about a mile behind me, if they were of age or not to drink. What you got? Dart? Heart.
A-R-T.
Interesting. Okay. So, one night, 2 guys come in. Big John knows they're not of age. Sorry, this zipper is really giving me a hard time. He knows they're not of age, so he tells the bartender, get them out of here. So, obviously, they leave. They come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Big John sees what's happening, gets pretty mad. They get into a big bar fight. The next thing you know, a couple of shots were fired, and John gets hit in the neck. Bullet ricochets and lands in the wall. John finishes beating the 2 guys up, goes back to the bar, and tells the bartender to get him another beer and get the 2 guys on the floor in an ambulance. Now, nobody died in that story. So, what's haunting the place? The bullet hole. The only time I've ever gotten EMF in this place is in the front of this bar. And it's been random. It's not all the time. People that sit in the front of the bar can get a little dizzy, nauseous, headaches, that kind of thing.
Really?
Any one of you are feeling that, I need to know immediately so we can move you guys on pretty quickly. So, I'm not going to say that it happens all the time, but sometimes people are a little bit more sensitive to paranormal activity than others. So, again, it's not a piece to scare you, it's a literal health hazard. Let's get off our own health for a moment. We had a big earthquake here in 1886. Have you guys taken any tours here? No.
I did about 20 years ago.
Okay. Well, that doesn't count. I meant in the past week.
No.
So we had a big earthquake here in 1886. Allegedly, this is where the first death occurred. So the mantling that's above your heads also wraps around the front of the building. A piece of that broke off from the earthquake, struck somebody in the head, and killed him. I don't have any verifiable proof of that. It's just a great story to get your mind off your own health that you can get a headache from this story. So, are you guys all ready to go ghost hunting?
Yeah.
Learn more about your devices?
Let's
Let's do this. Let's head out this way. Power buttons. It is a normal cell phone.
Yeah.
All right. So we can get this. We're going to talk more about your devices.
Turn the lasers on.
All right. So welcome to what I call the Red Barn Lot. This is where we keep the horses for
Share.
nice. Gotta keep it going, man. Just let us know what's going on.
Spazzing again.
Good. Good. The horses are inside the barn. So actually, no lasers on that building whatsoever. Those of you with spirit boxes, as we explore this lot, you're going to keep your spirit boxes audible to you and maybe the person that you're next to only. The horses do not like the white staticky noise so much.
Wait,
So-
there's real horses?
In that barn.
Oh,
What's their name?
I don't know. They change them out constantly. So, this is the same red barn where they held the horses that delivered milk to Charleston. Whenever I'm telling you stories about a location, I'll emphasize key words. This one is delivery, milk, Charleston. So, with that being said, let's talk about those spirit boxes for a minute. This isn't TV. This isn't, is somebody here? Okay? First off, if they answer no, that means somebody's here. So, they lied to you. S and O in the words yes and no are 2 of the most common sounds in English phonetic language. Okay, so we're going to stay away from yes and no questions altogether. What we're going to go after here is something you know. So we're going to kind of give you that suggestive thought. What color is the barn? You're going to listen to your spirit boxes or watch your spirit box for the color red, or anything that would be very specifically red, like a fire truck or fire itself or a chariot. Something that is going to be red. That's kind of what you're listening for. If you don't get an answer in that first 30 seconds or so, ask the same question again. Give these folks some time to muster up the energy or find the right word to spit back at you. After 2, 3, maybe 4 tries, still don't get an answer, open it up a little bit. What's inside the barn? We know they're animals, horses, delivery, milk. They also delivered eggs, so we can have the word calcium and protein, which has happened before. Step. Don't have anything relevant to that?
It went red right before you said that.
Nice. But you kind of see where I'm going. You have to put the clues together. So they might just have a word that's coming through the radio station that might actually make sense. We could get some disembodied voices here as well. I caught one just a few nights ago. It was an amazing recording. So, and it
What did it say?
just leave us alone.
Ooh, I like that.
So,
I
it was-
Why
like
do you
it.
like that?
And it was very clear. So you have to imagine, I have enough software to analyze these EVPs, and when I go through it, if we get something on, what was the name again? Paris. I'll get it right, I promise. So let's say Paris is listening to something, and that's going to spread over maybe 2 to 3 stations. This one spread over 6. I was able to separate it and kind of see where the static was jumping around through the radio stations, and it jumped over 6 static stations, meaning there was no radio chatter through that area. So, very interesting. It is posted on my Facebook page for Stories in a
This
Cemetery.
is kind of in a pattern.
Yeah, is there a church near here? Because it says mass.
Well, mass could just be a large number.
Mass amount of good.
Right. Exactly. So,
Because this is like green, green, yellow.
Oh, and... sorry.
so, Spirit Box folks, you guys are pretty much free to explore. I do want to work with the thermal imaging camera for a few minutes by itself.
And none of these.
As far as you, nothing on the barn. Down on the ground, you're fine. Nothing on cars, nothing on the barn. We don't want to disturb that.
We're just
But-
going right here.
Yeah, we're going to stay within this lot. So, again, I gave you the 2 loud spirit boxes. I separated them on purpose so that way you guys aren't running into each
So
other.
asking questions.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So, thermal imaging, how much do you know about it?
Pretty good bit.
Okay,
You'd be surprised.
I wouldn't. So, I get firemen and mechanics and all kinds of people that use this thing on a daily basis, and they get excited when I give them something they already know. So, one of the things that I try to tell people is you want to try to keep a base temperature in there. Base temperature meaning our skin. So we have enough people in our party where you're going to have enough people to try to keep in view at all times. So if you shoot it at just the wall, it's probably going to be mainly one color until somebody gets into view. I normally show the video of what I actually caught, my biggest piece of evidence from there. Let's see. So what do you do for a living that you know about this? Or does it have nothing to
I
do
used
with
to be in the
it?
military.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. I gave it to the right person then. So this is our next location. That orange is a wall. There's 2 living people walking by. You can see their orange heads. We're going to fast forward. You're going to see 2 dead people going past the wall the opposite way. Going to be right there.
Awesome.
So again, very solid evidence. I've had it analyzed I don't know how many times, but you obviously know what you're looking for on that. And the thermometers that I have, one of them is an ambient thermometer. It actually measures humidity too. And then I just have an infrared surface temperature. Did we lose Marty? Where'd she go?
She's right there in front of me.
Oh, okay. To make sure we're all good. And I normally use a device myself, but I found it's way better for me to interact with everybody, so that way I can kind of bounce around. But yeah, definitely you can stick with her so we can get the recordings of the things that she's hearing. Plus
Okay.
you can help verify. So let me see
Great.
what's going on with you.
audio on yours is recording, but not on mine. I wish it was, because that's where I heard the word help twice. A different place.
Yeah.
Because I can't follow the rest. I say, what's a yes or no question? Not supposed to ask. The next thing I heard was, that's right.
What do you need help with? The kids are standing over there. They're a little
Heard
muted.
anything yet?
I'm not sure if it's just my brain making it up. I thought I heard the word help.
Okay. Well, hopefully it's loud enough on the recording where we can verify that.
I just heard that recording, right?
No.
Yeah,
He's got an audio
thing.
thing.
At either time.
Okay. So here's what I'll tell you also. When we're asking questions through the spirit boxes, we have 5 devices running that can actually get answers. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll walk away and say, hey, so-and-so, how many people did I bring with me? And somebody's going to turn around and say the number 7. If that kind of gives you a gist of how I try to prove like, what we're actually doing is true life. So if you're asking a question, they might have the answer and just don't know it. So that's another reason why I like to put this spirit box with that particular audio, because it doesn't record. But it is the standard for ghost hunting as far as spirit boxes go. It's an SP7. That's the one you see on all your TV shows. So, are you guys ghost hunting show fans?
I'm not.
I used to watch them occasionally. I mean, wasn't glued to them or anything, but
Yeah.
I've watched them.
Well, most of them are BS anyway. So, they lie to us all the time about what they're going through.
TV shows lie?
We're going to spend one night locked down. No, they're there for 2 weeks and giving you 3 small pieces of evidence. We know that because they come through towns like this all the time. But anyway, I'm going to give you guys a few minutes. Again, this isn't like a major stop for us. It's just so everybody gets used to what their device can do.
Okay.
So let me follow up with the kids and see what's going on there. All right, guys. What do we got?
Nothing's getting rid of.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of emotion in that place.
Well, on the original one, we found it. We got a assistant.
Everybody, come on over. Has everybody got a gist of how your device is working out? Yeah. You guys ready to learn some real history?
We're ready.
All right, let's go this way.
You can show
Oh, sorry. This is not all day.
Oh, horses are pets.
You get pets?
You just gotta put it together in your head. Thank you, Mr. Say you're welcome. Ooh, I wanna go. We're gonna go to like a graveyard or something. Ah, there it is.
Oh, it's right.
Oh, I'm gonna haunt a bar.
Oh, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's
All right.
been red like basically the entire time we've been in.
Nice. I'll tell you why. All right. Welcome to another beautiful parking lot. So, again, I told you guys ghost hunting wasn't always sightseeing. Let's go ahead and turn that spirit box down so I don't feel like I'm shouting over it. This was home to Eliza and Charles Pinckney. Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles, and they had a nephew named Charles. They were signers of our Constitution. However, I hate politics. We just had an election. Let's talk about Eliza. She's done way more cooler stuff than signing pieces of paper. So, Eliza married Charles at a young age. I'm not going to be giving you answers to questions that you're going to be asking in this location, like what color is the barn, right? That's pretty easy. This is going to be, I'm going to say these things, like Eliza got married at a young age, and a question for you could be, how old were you when you got married? Does that make sense? You're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes or hopefully some audio. So, she got married because her dad was sick over in England, and he wanted all his kids home because he thought he was dying. She didn't want to go, so she got married. They didn't give her any kind of citizenship because we're talking mid-1700s. Yes, that's craziness. It doesn't always do that. Not that high, which is good. I'm going to show you a little trick with that here in a minute. But anyway, basically said she wasn't going to be going anywhere. That's why she got married. Dad got better. Eliza was right. He didn't die. And he started sending her over wedding gifts. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo, because Eliza liked to experiment with different types of plants. Indigo is a blue dye that makes blue jeans blue. Some of you are wearing it tonight. We still use it. Pretty cool stuff. It started right where you're standing. Her garden was right over there and came all the way across where the exit of this parking lot is. Okay, so Eliza then used her father's contacts overseas to turn it into a huge cash crop. Our rice plantations in Charleston were going downhill. So it was indigo that pretty much not only just saved Charleston and South Carolina, but all 13 colonies. Eliza is a pretty big deal. We're talking about a businesswoman in the 1700s. There was no such thing as a businesswoman in those times. She was supposed to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. So, a couple weird facts about Eliza. She was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. Both Elizas went by their maiden name. They start with L. That's all I'm going to tell you. So it's Eliza blank Pinckney. So, you can ask anything you want to about Eliza's death. How old she was when she died, what did she die from, where did she die, where is she buried, and which U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral. She loves to brag about that.
So what?
A pallbearer.
It's really red.
Pallbearer.
Pallbearer is somebody who carries the coffin to the person's grave.
Oh.
It's an honor to be a pallbearer.
Got it.
So I was a pallbearer at my grandmother's wedding. She requested it in her will. She wanted her favorite grandson to be a pallbearer. So, let's see, what else can you ask? You can ask what happened to the mansion. The mansion actually stood in the front. And then, obviously, I told you where Eliza's garden was, and we are standing where the servant and slave quarters were. That's what the back of this lot is. Spouse. So we might actually have Charles here tonight. So if you want to know anything about Charles, simple things. What was your job? What political stance did you have? When did you die? Those kind of things. You can usually ask those type of questions, and he will answer. It's very interesting that the word spouse came up. It's almost like he was telling us to stay away from Eliza. By the way, this is where Just Leave Us Alone came from. So that just happened just a few nights ago. And this is also the same place where your video came from that I showed you guys. So that happened up there in the top right corner. Let's see. EMF. That was the other thing. So my light is blinking at the back of the Five Church restaurant. That is the energy pouring out of this place and actually affecting that very weak light over there. It's EMF. That's why hers is going off like crazy. If you were to actually hold that up like you're going to take a selfie, and you can have both in view, you'll have a pulse on yours, and then a pulse will show up 2 seconds later on that light. I've tested it several times. I will tell you that light does not always blink. Hold. Interesting. Could be something just around us. The light isn't always blinking. Sometimes it's just off, sometimes it's just very weak, but the fact that that's kind of my barometer. I'm pretty excited at the fact that it's blinking the way that it is tonight. So hopefully we can capture things on our spirit boxes. We are going to spend about 10 to 15 minutes here. I'm going to let you guys kind of, yeah, pretty cool, right?
The yellow was really bright.
So I'm going to let you guys kind of ask the questions that I kind of suggested, or you can come up with your own. Think of things that I can prove. Okay, so not how did you feel about this. I can't prove that she was sad about something that happened. So forth and so on. I can prove how many kids she had. I can prove how old she was when she got married. I can prove how old she was when she died. We got the word tie. So again, I'm going to say Charles is probably hanging out with us tonight. So let's explore this lot a little bit. Remember, the lasers can make the car alarms go off. Okay. That corner is a hot spot for what happened to the mansion.
Oh.
So if you guys want to get up there.
Corner?
Cool.
What happened to your home?
Put it up to it. How much money did you make from selling indigo? How many slaves did you have?
What church did you attend?
What year did you get married?
Go.
Did I just say my fault?
I heard go.
Oh.
Could have been either or both.
Were you the reason your house is no longer here?
Anything weird?
She thought she heard someone say go.
Okay.
I thought I heard someone say my fault.
They got the word mistress. Like on the one with the word list on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. Again, sometimes I got to put sentences together between how many spirit boxes are out there.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is the place where I got just leave me alone. I'm here twice a night poking questions at these two folks. I'm sure I
I'd
piss them
probably
off.
ask you to leave too.
Yeah.
Just
And
trying
what's
to
funny is normally I'll get like a hello Nick, my name will pop up. I've gotten hi before, which is odd for that time period because I'm sure hi wasn't said in the 1700s. But it has the same salutation greeting, as hello. So you can probably turn it up a little bit in here just because it's a little bit more open. That way you can hear things over the traffic.
What color was your wife's hair?
That light blinking is truly a good sign. So, one
Cool.
right there.
Mm-hmm.
so darn good.
Try and do one of the scans we use over here.
Was your mistress one of the slaves?
Walk closer to the flickering light.
Okay.
How old were you when you died?
Kind of weird to see how, I mean, see how those windows are a little darker, but then that one is bright blue. And watch, it'll go in and out. It'll completely go away. Could be just the crosshat, marks on the window, but I don't think so. So it's completely gone now. Oh, it's back. I'm sure it's just my imagination. Yep. Now it's in 2 of the windows.
What color are my beautiful, comfortable shoes?
I'll wander back over that way.
You gotta tell me something.
Oh, well,
Just heard him say, "Hey, Nick."
yeah, we're just gonna say Nick.
We've been asking what the tour guide's name was.
Yeah, a lot. Okay, so we've been looking at that building across the street there, and this left window will turn completely blue, and then it'll go back. And the windows are kind of cold anyway, but
So, which are you talking about? Like this long window? Because that's the sign.
no, up here, this
The top one.
top left window on that building across the street.
Okay.
Let's walk back over this way.
But yeah, they were asking what the tour guide's name was. So, and it's not uncommon for my name to go up here.
I mean, the cross marks in that window are going to show up a little cold, but I'm not doing it now. Look at this around the 26-minute mark.
Okay. By the way, if that timer stops, just ignore it. All I worry about is the red square, because sometimes people flip it by accident and it stops.
Yeah, it's not happening at all now.
Okay. I'll
Oh,
definitely
wait,
dive into it.
there you go. All right. See it very lightly?
Uh-huh. Something's going on up there. Yeah, that's definitely lighter than the other ones. Can you put the crosshairs on it? Maybe we can get a temp. Even if we can't read it now, it goes on my TV in the morning. I don't think anybody lives up there.
Measure one of the other windows for comparison.
About the same.
I had to calibrate. It does that every minute or two.
Yeah. But you'll see if you look back on the video, about the 26-minute mark, it's glowing pretty blue.
Nice. All right, let's team up with these guys. I'll give you the answers and we'll move on to the next one.
Awesome.
I asked, what does she miss about being alive?
That's a good question. I never had anybody ask that. So why don't you tell them what you heard?
We heard "Hey Nick" and "Go" and "My Fault."
You guys asked what your tour guide's name was, correct? And I also told you that the answers can go anywhere. She got "Hey Nick" on hers. So, go. I'm still kind of looking at that as part of the warning that I got from the other night of just leave us alone. And then we also found on the camera, I'm going to have to review it around the 26-minute mark and kind of see what's going on there, but we do have a window going more blue than the rest of them. I want you to also keep in mind that windows, that camera cannot see through windows. It looks at it as a temperature base only. It's a solid object. So if I see something in there where it's varying from a light blue to a dark blue to a black versus the other windows, it did nothing when we just stood over there when I went to go review it. But when I reviewed them, you know, what he caught earlier, hopefully we actually have some windows moving a little bit colder than what they should be. I don't know any history on that building. I'm not going to make some story up for you to make it interesting, just so you know. But very cool stuff. I can't wait to take a look.
Spirit. That's scary.
That could also mean drinks. So, let's give you guys some answers, and then we're going to move on to the next location. So, Eliza Pinckney was 70 years old when she died. She died from breast cancer in Philadelphia, which is also where she's buried. So if that tells you why we don't walk through cemeteries, that's the reason why. Angry.
It said angry?
It says angry.
Okay.
Saved it.
Yep. Somebody dropped the camera the other night and saved it like mid-air. It was great. I got it on film. So, because it was obviously recording. But anyway, it was George Washington that was the pallbearer at her funeral. So if that tells you how important she was, that George Washington was honored to take Eliza Pinckney to her grave, that's a pretty big deal on both parts. And George Washington did spend a lot of time here in Charleston, and obviously with Charles Pinckney being a governor, I know some of you were asking about his job, there was only 13 governors at the time. I'm always going history. That's but again, he knew his 13 governors pretty well, so it was pretty much an honor for him, just as much as it was for Eliza. The mansion did catch fire in 1861, which would have been long after Eliza and Charles's death, but it was still within the family. That fire actually took out a good portion of Charleston. It actually started at this bay and worked all its way to the other side of the peninsula. So this was just caught in the crossfire of that whole ordeal.
Did it kill anybody?
I'm sure it did. Not anybody from this particular...
I don't know if there was vapor back then. I know there is some today.
I was just vaping myself.
Oh.
So, let's see, what other questions did I have you ask? There were 4 children. What other questions did you guys ask that I did not mention the answers to?
Dynamics. You're getting a lot of words.
Did Charles Pinckney have a mistress, or did he have a mistress?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Because we asked, what was his mistress's name and what she wanted the slaves?
Wait. We got mistress.
And I know, like,
We got
mistress.
You saw mistress, and that's what we were asking after that came up. We wanted to.
There's no proven knowledge that Charles ever had a mistress, and I know a lot of times a mistress would have been one of the slaves.
mistresses. He's not that type to sleep
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, I just
I think that's what I'm
I
getting.
think he did have a mistress.
I think
See, now he walked away because he understands. I
Yep.
understand.
You're telling me to focus.
what other
completely
questions did we have that you guys were asking? Anything?
How old was she when she died?
70.
How old she was
When she got married, she was 22, and Charles was 45.
Did we
And
already
how
say
many
how many
children
kids?
did they have?
4.
Yeah, you said 4.
Okay.
Now that's usually a touchy subject because one of them did not make it through infancy. That's why I don't give you a lot of details about their children.
Focus.
So if you start asking about the one that did not make it, whether it was days or weeks, usually all activity stops. And that includes the blinking light on the back of the building. So that's why I don't give you like, hey, let's start asking about the kids. A lot of them did some great things. However, that one tragedy will stop all activity.
Oh, well, that's the main question I was asking, so.
So,
Come on, Karis, really?
with all of that said, I think we got to review that video for sure in the morning, and I definitely want to listen to the recordable spirit box to see what we caught there that we missed in real time. And obviously the pictures, how many pictures do you think you took here?
Oh,
A couple thousand?
yeah.
Few hundred.
It's okay, we'll take it. We're going to walk up
Oh,
East
it's
Bay
draining
Street
the energy from
about
the light.
4 blocks. Your EMF meter is going to go crazy because of the parking meters. Ignore it. It means
Okay.
nothing. Spirit boxes, if you want to listen to them along the way, we're listening for names. I'm not going to tell you which names or why. I'll tell you once we get to Lodge Alley and kind of give you the gist and the history of that location once we get there. It is kind of a brief stop, but we do get a lot of activity there. We are going to have some pictures being taken. You're going to be helping me lead the way as we go into the alley, so that way we can get some pictures before we walk through it. And then, of course, you'll be the last one out to take pictures the opposite way. We're going to leave you behind. No, I'm kidding. So, just making sure everybody's paying attention. Nobody made a joke. So, all right.
Often.
I often make jokes. All right, we're going to head up this way.
Let's go.
Yeah, the light in the building. One up, 3 down. We're on the same floor.
You get a T-Rex one?
I know what part.
That's that Grill 325. I forgot.
And then there's also
We
like
passed it earlier, and I saw the thing at the rooftop bar. But that was beautiful.
people that make stuff. I think I've been inside there before. I know I've been to a rooftop around here somewhere. What year were
I was just reading, but Pavilion Bar.
That's just almost as gross as me walking up this ground.
No.
1757 to 1824.
I do not believe we had the opportunity to dine at Henry Field.
No, no. Did you see the sign on that bar over there? So the liver is evil, it must be punished.
Maybe we have to turn maintenance.
Guys, stop there at that corner. Stop at that corner. Stop right there.
No, I got it.
Yeah, we need you. Grab it. Make sure it's trying to be as still as possible without a flash.
Thank you.
You getting any names on that thing?
Ed.
Ed?
What about Sophia and Ed?
Opposite.
They were. What if they were twins that looked the opposite, dressed in the opposite?
Yeah, it's probably just annoying.
Very quiet.
Nasty stuff that's coming from that restaurant.
They call that garbage juice in New York.
Alright, so let's cut those spirit boxes off. This is considered a quiet area because we are standing next to a hotel. This is Lodge Alley. This is actually one of the first streets we ever had in Charleston. So when we crossed over, like right past the open air market, I'm sure you guys all noticed that, we were inside the original Charlestown walls. So there were 4 walls around Charlestown before it was Charleston. We basically took out the W and made it one word. So the names I normally get down here are due to the fact of there used to be people that lived here. These 2 buildings that we're leaned up against, they weren't here. They were small shotgun houses. So the shotgun houses were small enough where you could shoot a gun through the front and the bullet would go out the back. That's why they called them that. These people were lower class. So I do have the full list of names and residents of every person that's ever lived down here and their occupation. The names I commonly get, Benjamin and John. Now, there were 4 different Johns that lived down here, but when I get Benjamin and John in the same night, those are 2 out of the 5 people that lived here in 1801. It's a pretty big deal. There's not much on them, can't find much history, can't find anything about what, other than their occupations of what they actually did. So there's no real story. They just like to chat with us. Let us know who's here. The buildings we see on the edge of the Charleston Peninsula, they weren't there. So the smell of low tide would have been coming through here often, which kind of proves the point that these people were lower class. I asked for pictures on the way in, and we're going to get some on the way out, because I get a lot of light anomalies through here as well. My wife does all the photography work for Stories in a Cemetery. That's what she went to school for. So if I find something I can't explain, it goes to her. So she knows the camera well. Her day job, she knows every cell phone. She's a cell phone manager for Best Buy. So she knows all the cell phone cameras and all that stuff because of what her degree is in. So if one of you takes a picture and says, hey, I don't know what this is, or I caught something, we'll be able to prove it or debunk it for you based on your cell phone. So if you send me a picture, it'll more likely be what kind of phone is this from, kind of deal. So that way we can figure out what's going on. So again, we're going to get some pictures on the way out. As we walk through here, we're going to be in a neighborhood where tour guides aren't allowed to be tour guides. So we're going to be 8 people walking through very quietly with no lasers and no spirit boxes running, except for obviously the digital word list, until we get to our next location. So it is a very short little cut around for a neighborhood. But as you notice, if you are picture takers, St. Philip's, if you stand to the right as we walk out of this alley, you can see St. Philip's beautifully. And then you can get the 2 old buildings on the side of it to make a beautiful picture. So again, I'll point out some touristy spots. This is going to be your legends and lore from here going forward until we reach our last destination, which is another full investigation like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion. So I'm going to tell you a lot of stories along the next place. So let's get over to there and definitely get us some pictures on the way out.
We'll do that.
You guys in Charleston, I had to show off some kind of cobblestone streets, right?
Ankle breakers.
Yeah.
Golf.
Okay.
Cool. Yesterday,
You guys are in
I was home. Yesterday, we went on a boat tour.
Make sure we don't lose them. How are you guys doing? That's what you guys were hoping for, I hope?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
It's in
Good so far.
I'm aware. I'm aware that I stepped in cocktail water.
A lot of pre-1886 buildings all along here.
Earthquake.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't remember what they're called. It was called Dual Alley, and you know, whenever you would come along, and supposedly more people who were there to spectate got killed than actual people dueling.
I can see that happening.
I'll tell you guys more about that, Ellie.
Yeah, we know. Sorry.
That's my ringtone.
Oh, okay.
It's like, what is that?
That's a sassy ghost.
That's when somebody looks for it, so I know
Somebody
that
I know.
ghost hunting for it.
That's what he said. I was wondering. Jack. I was last wondering.
It's still recording. You're still doing your job. Alright, so the alley that you guys were taking pictures of, that's Philadelphia Alley. Technically, tours aren't supposed to be going down there anymore. So it is considered a residential area. So as much as it is a public space, there's houses down at the end of it. So we don't go down there anymore. It actually used to be part of my tour. I had to rearrange things. But I do want to point out that that's where duels used to occur here in Charleston. So it did have the name Duelers Alley for quite some time. And the doorway that you guys see behind you, in the event there was a death from a duel, the dead person would come through that doorway, across the courtyard, and go over to the cemetery where they would drop the body, then go celebrate the winner. So that means that doorway is original to that alley. So it is called Philadelphia Alley now. It's really cool. Probably the prettiest spot we have in Charleston, day or night. So if you guys
Like, what years are we talking when it was Dueling Alley?
probably 1840s to 1890s roughly.
Oh, that's late.
She's been really quiet.
Yeah.
That's late.
So it used to be called Cow Alley because that's where they used to keep all the livestock. So I would get words wrapped around that. So it had the nickname of Cow Alley. So it's a very interesting place in Charleston. It has a lot of significance for us, but we just don't go down there anymore. So there's a lot of different reference points. There's a lot of legend and lore here. So I like to point out a lot of different types of buildings. First off, the one that we passed up, the brick building over there in the corner used to be called Bocce's Restaurant. So Bocce's Restaurant, they actually left town because the place is too haunted. Mirrors fall off the walls in there, doors won't stay locked, so forth and so on. So it's a very interesting building. I've never toured it, I've never been inside it, so I would love to do an investigation in there to see what's actually happening. We're actually about to go up to St. Philip's. I kind of like to give you the story here. Every ghost tour goes up to that cemetery so you guys can see it, but they all talk about the same story at the sign. The sign says there was no ghost at St. Philip's besides the Holy Ghost. The reason for that is in 1888, a young lady died 6 days after her stillborn child. In 1987, local photographers taking pictures throughout town of the cemeteries. He captures a full apparition. That woman's name was Sue Howard Hardy, the one that died. The apparition is of a woman wearing a shawl and a baby basket next to her over those two particular graves. It's 1987. There's no cell phones, no Photoshop. He sends it to Kodak. Sorry guys, that's a company that used to, you know, print film, print pictures for us.
Kodak cameras.
So Kodak still can't debunk the picture. I don't show the picture. It's allegedly cursed, of course. So I don't show it on my tours. Females that hold the picture will not feel well, kind of the same symptoms I told you all about back at Big John's. Pregnant females will not have a good pregnancy. I'm not getting that phone call 9 months ago. So I don't show the picture. If you want to look it up, Sue Howard Hardy, that's all on you. It's a great picture for nerds like me that really study this stuff. So St. Philip's Church has two sides of the cemetery. Let me just make sure it's still running. Off.
Yeah, I turned it off.
There you go.
I mean, I'm cursed now.
No, you're not cursed. So, St. Philip's actually has two sides to the cemeteries. This side is for native Charlestonians only. That side is for everybody else. John Calhoun, vice president, is buried on the everybody else side. And right past that, there's a house. You can see the little blinking gas light off in the distance. That is the pirate house. That is where allegedly Blackbeard's men would come off the ship and have a few drinks, meet with a few girls, and then they dug a tunnel underneath the pirate house over to Dock Street Theater, which is one of the top 10 haunted locations in America. And they would go over there for work, catch a show, and it was also Planter's Hotel at the time where they would take their female friends. We'll keep it PG. So, all of these buildings tie in together with one last story. Now, Nettie Dickerson, back in the early 1800s, worked here at the church. She was past the marrying age of 17. Nobody wanted to marry her at the age of 23. So, she worked at the church. But she saw the prostitution that was going on down at Planter's Hotel, which is now Dock Street Theater, and she bought a red dress and went down there to go get herself a job. She's obviously gotten herself a job, and she's the best loved girl in the whole place. She's still not happy. So she decides she's going to go out to the second story balcony and ponder about coming back to the church, because you can see it from out there. I tested it myself. So the priest sees her out there one night. He's down there trying to talk her into coming back to the church. A storm rolls in, and lightning strikes the wrought iron banister that she's leaned upon. Kills her. Now, you can see her ghost at Dock Street Theater from the knees up only. That's the interesting part of the story. Why? It's because we renovated Dock Street Theater and we raised that first floor ceiling. She's walking on the floor that she knows. So it's one of those, you can only see her from the knees up, and allegedly you can see her in color. Most apparitions that are caught or seen, you can't see them in color. You think of a ghost that's white and wispy or something see-through and transparent. So hopefully that's moving around those trees up there. Something just caught my eye. But the other ghost you can see at Dock Street Theater is Junius Booth. Yeah, get us some film of that. I think it was just a squirrel, but let's be sure. Junius Booth was the father of John Wilkes Booth, who shot Lincoln in a theater. Ironic there. But Junius was a traveling actor coming through Charleston during those times and planned this hotel in the original Dock Street Theater. He's not from here. He didn't die here. He's actually, I think he's buried in Virginia somewhere. But he's apparently just loved this theater so much that he haunts it to this day. I haven't caught any evidence of either one of those two stories. I believe that the place is haunted from some of the wood that's in there. We took wood from one of the many, many fires we had at the Radcliffe Borough Mansion and brought the wood up here. I think something occurred with the Radcliffe Borough and brought the spirits with them to Dock Street Theater. So I can't reach it because it's the chair rail, 12 feet on the second story balcony, that I can't reach the EMS for to even test it. So
Wait,
you
that
can't
was
take.
weird. So it said wave, and so we waved, and then it said impression.
Wave at a first impression.
No, I don't know.
It's a stretch.
We saw foot earlier.
And
So
so I did
that's
this.
Is that why you guys were talking about somebody's stank foot that they walked with?
talking about.
It's all on audio. You guys will all hear the story again later. Not that you probably haven't heard it already. But I do want to show you guys that sign real quick, and we're going to test your laser inside the cemetery. So let's go right up to the sign and let's see if we can catch it. Be careful, because I do have police officers across the street.
I see.
So we're going to keep those lasers low. There's a laser law in Charleston.
Really?
Yes. It's like a $500 fine if I flash it the wrong way. Right here, guys. Where are you going? So here's the sign I'm telling you guys about. The only ghost at St. Philip's is the Holy Ghost. Yeah, so also keep in mind that St. Philip's doesn't stand perfectly upright. The earthquake in 1886 knocked it off just a little bit. We can't see it with the naked eye, but when you measure it, it's a little off. It's not full 20 degrees.
I can see the steeple is tilted that way. It's definitely off.
And we get a lot of really
Ghosts like potty humor.
Partying? What did it say?
I like potty humor.
When was it built?
What was it?
I don't know.
Elbow.
I'm not even going to try to attempt it. But I will tell you that
Nose.
it's old enough to the point where the only reason it's a church
Oh.
Oh, it's a cat.
Get it.
they couldn't move when they widened the road. Happening around the church, and then it just picks up like where it starts.
Oh, okay.
So again, this used to be Dock Street.
When was that earthquake again?
1889.
Oh, it's a beagle.
Alright, we're gonna go across the street into that other lot. So you guys have one last investigation piece. I know, right?
There's a cutest, but that's far. My cousin used to have one. Oh my god. I think they're dead.
So, this is our last stop, which is going to be another investigation, kind of like the Pinckney Mansion site. But by this time, I'm not going to be giving you questions. So you guys are going to come up with your own questions. And we're going to be looking at the building behind you that looks like it has crosses on it. That's the Tower magazine.
Powder.
Did you really? claimed held gunpowder. Okay, so it served in 7 different
Gunpowder, that's what I was thinking.
7 different wars. It was never attacked. It has never held prisoners there. It's literally in the corners of what is it called?
R-E.
So it literally fit, like when I told you guys about the original Charlestown Wall, it came right up Cumberland Street and went about a block, maybe half a block away from the powder magazine. So it's literally right in the corner of where the original Charlestown Wall is. We're 3 blocks away from the water. So if it were to get attacked, the roof that you see there is filled with sand from 1712. It's still there because sand doesn't disintegrate. The walls are 32 inches thick. That blast would be contained and would not change the walls or any other buildings around it. So that's why it's built the way that it is, but it's never been attacked. The crosses that you see are the first set of earthquake bolts that we installed in Charleston. Earthquake bolts, basically what they do is they run through the floors of a building, so that way if we have another earthquake and it moves the building around, you tighten up those bolts and it will stand back upright again.
Oh.
That's the whole purpose of earthquake bolts.
Transportation.
So, during the time period that this building was being worked on and being built, there was a young lady that moved here with her father because she was the illegitimate daughter of her father's maid from Ireland. He wanted to get away from his wife, he picked up his mistress, and he moved here with his daughter. So, they're from Ireland, her last name was Cormac. The young lady's name was Anne Cormac.
Rapture.
What did you say?
Rapture.
So when she gets here, this building is obviously being worked on and she becomes the owner. This building is finished. We have pirates coming through town. Boswell was one of those pirates. His name is James Bonny. James Bonny wanted to marry her. Father disagreed. They moved to Jamaica to get married. Anne Cormac becomes Anne Bonny. However, James Bonny was not the pirate that she wanted him to be. He was a privateer. Basically means he was a spy for the British. So she wanted somebody a little bit more badass. So she falls in love with another pirate. His name's Calico Jack. Calico Jack tried to buy off the dowry to James, James' father, and he disagreed. So she's still married to James, but she's fallen in love with Calico Jack. She wants to be part of his ship. So in order to do that, she has to dress like a male, because females on a pirate ship were bad luck. However, she's allowed to be female in the captain's quarters, and hence she gets pregnant. So what does Calico Jack do? He drops her off in Cuba to have the baby. Just come back as a male, dressed like a male again, once the baby's born. We'll figure it out from there. She doesn't do that. She goes back dressed as a female. She no longer cares about hiding her gender. So Calico Jack's not paying attention to her. He's obviously pretty angry. During the time that she was gone, during the pregnancy, Calico Jack's ship captured another ship, and they had prisoners down below deck. Anne decides she's going to go to court with one of those prisoners. Yeah, so now we got a third pirate that she's partnered with, and it turns out that that pirate revealed herself as a female, dressing like a man, to be part of the pirate. That person's name was Mary Reed. So Anne Bonny and Mary Reed obviously become friends. Anne convinces Mary to become part of the crew. So now, all of the other pirates are downstairs protecting the prisoners, and the ship gets attacked by the British. It's only Anne Bonny and Mary Reed to be able to defend the ship because everybody else is too drunk to do so. Obviously, the ship gets taken over. Sorry, this is a very popular area. So obviously the ship gets taken. All the pirates are tried and hung for piracy. Anne Bonny and Mary Reed's trial was a week later because they were so ornery about fighting back. And the judge, Nicholas Laws, wanted to see them separately. They revealed themselves as females, and he said, I don't care, I'm still going to try and hang you for piracy. Then they pled their bellies, which means they both claimed that they were pregnant. Which means their hanging is going to be delayed. So, Anne Bonny's father, here in Charleston, still had his money from Ireland, and he was able to bail her out. Allegedly, she lived a ripe old age of 84, remarried and had plenty of children. We don't know much history. As far as Mary Reed goes, she died from whatever pirates died from it in Jamaican jail. So take that for what it's worth. Now, this is a place where we don't have much EMF. We get something, exciting. Again, people are coming up to their cars and trying to get their way out of here. Reg, if you want to get us some film from the front of the building as well, you probably know the Powder Magazine well. It's been here forever. But we definitely want to ask whatever questions you guys want to ask, and let's see what we can actually come up with. Let's get us some good laser pictures going through the front yard. That would be good too. So if you guys want to go to the front and let the spirit boxes work their way back here in the lot, that way we can actually get some questions answered. I do try to stay out of other groups' way. They're very large and they're very loud. So again, that's why I kind of paused for a minute. I wanted to see the size of his group and if he was going to actually stop here if I needed to get out of his way. My groups are louder because of their devices, but again, let's see what happens. So let's see what we can capture here, and then we'll wrap this up and get you guys where we need to go. I can get going. Red, if you've heard that story before, you were nodding your head a lot.
What, Aunt Bonnie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently she was a pretty badass pirate all on her own.
Yeah, exactly.
She's pretty vicious from what I understand.
Mm-hmm. And usually I get the word aggression or angry here on one of the spirit boxes. But to get to the front of the building is actually around this way. So, yeah, you can actually shine your lasers inside the front yard. Okay. There's where the heat going. So you can actually So with your lasers on?
Yeah.
Down like on the cement here. And let it shine. There you go. Can you see anything? Not much, huh? Red light doesn't have to shine. Yeah, we can go back to the green. So we
Light.
get some good pictures.
Fair.
Looks like, you know, those, I wonder why they would have had
Yeah.
Hmm?
I wonder why they would have had stocks right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right, this is the oldest government building we have.
Well, there's a sign over there.
Oh, what if Lillian just
They actually used to do those kinds of stuff in this yard. Like what we're doing tonight. They would just
here?
watch, there's a park.
I got yellow for the first time in a while.
So they have stocks in the yard here. Is this used
It's,
for
no. It's all for show. Now the museum itself, it's fantastic. Like they have all the artillery in there that they used to use, and you know, all the different uniforms from the 7 different wars. Like, there's all kinds of stuff in there.
Oh god, it's shining in my own light.
Too bad. Another trip.
Yeah, it's actually not a long tour. I don't know what you guys are doing. It's literally just like 30 minutes in there. We can see the whole thing.
Oh, look at you. How cost you? Yeah, it's we're gonna have to rinse her
What's
out.
fascinating to me is the sand stuff. That's a pretty big statement.
It's an interesting thing we learned yesterday. Because there was actually two of these, and there was one on the far end of town, on the other end of what it would have been the wall. Supposedly they're indestructible, the sand is in there, so they thought if anything happened, the sand would fall throughout the fire.
Right.
But apparently the other one exploded. I can't remember what the reason
it was
was.
invaded and somebody dropped a match.
So yeah, it was destroyed, and pieces of it ended up to 2 miles away when after it exploded. So the theory of the sand working to smoke out the fire, snuff out the fire, didn't work.
So that would have actually been closer to this is the very corner of where the wall was, because it came up here and then over that way. So it would have been down closer.
So I'm not. I'd have to look and see where the exact location of the other one was. I think it was. Oh, it was down by the battery.
It would have to be.
Yeah, down by the battery, which is that way.
Yeah, straight that way.
Yeah, her brain hurts.
Oh yeah, yeah. We had some good ones there too.
We went in we didn't do tours, but we did go to a couple of
Get you guys back to your cars or wherever you need to go.
No, we're
I
not.
gotta re-sanitize and get to the next room.
Okay. Here, can I give you these?
You can.
Yeah.
You guys have done it.
We got a bunch of pictures, so maybe we'll see something.
Thousands of pictures.
Because I have to lighten everything up.
Well, is there
heard
a big place around
800
here to get like ice cream or?
Kaminsky.
Oh, I see we
for
got some Nick
dessert.
Jonas up here.
What is it called again?
Kaminsky.
Kaminsky's.
It's on Market Street. On where are we going?
Yeah,
We're heading there after this.
Okay, great.
I don't know if they have ice cream, but they have desserts that are just to die for.
Yeah, it's a
There's
dessert.
another dessert place down here on Bay Street that a lot of people go to after my tours too. It's still open.
What's that called? Do you know?
I don't.
We
I wish
saw
I did.
one that looked
Thanks.